distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. You're very fortunate that you're starting today with the most exciting industry in the world. Actually, sometimes when people ask me what I do and I say I'm in the tourism industry, they say, well, that's not a serious industry. You don't make anything. I say, well, yes, we do. We make people happy. And nothing could be more serious or important than that. And in fact, you've heard all about the economic performance and the importance of employment. And I'm very pleased to know that the Crimean government has identified tourism as its #1 priority for development. So when we want to develop the tourism product, why do we have to do it? Well, if we look at this chart, which was devised back in the 1980s, like most products, we can see that it reaches a point when it's going to fall into decline once it's matured, or it needs to be refreshed and rejuvenated. And that's because if you don't know your customers, if you don't understand what your markets want, if you don't keep up with customer trends, then your product is going to deteriorate, your income will diminish, and your business will suffer. So at a point of maturity, you have to look ahead and decide how you are going to reinvest in the business to refresh or rejuvenate that product. Some of the signs or the symptoms of a mature market can be when the infrastructure is starting to age, or when the products are becoming obsolete, and that's particularly important when you have a single product destination. When you have congestion, in other words, when all of your visitors are coming in a very short period of time, or when it's confined to a particular geographic area, when you're not keeping in tune with the expectations of your visitors, and when, of course, you're dealing with increased competition. And the World Tourist Organization has given us some signs of when you are reaching that point. So when your visitor arrivals are limited and the profitability ratio decreases, when the ancillary services are more expensive than the basic product, and when there is a lack of investment, in other words, your infrastructure is in a state of degradation, and you have problems with image. When you get into decline is when you start to lose visitor numbers, when your prices are going down in order to attract people, you are lowering your prices. When you have no new investment, when you are starting to have to pay people less and you're losing your talent, the infrastructure is becoming obsolete and the environment is deteriorating. So here's a picture of Crimea in the 1950s. In those days, it relied heavily on two markets, Russia and Ukraine, maybe Belarus and some others. And people came for particular reasons. Nothing much has changed since then. Yes, there have been developments, but it will be much better progressed with a structured development plan. And that is where the EU is working with Crimea to try and forward that. So the purpose of the EU project is to create a more diversified product in the Crimea, using public and private sector collaboration and making sure that the quality and standards of management and service are improved. And the outcomes for that, we hope, will be the identification of new visitor markets, a wider choice of products, an enhancement of the visitor experience, and of course an increase in seasonal and regional spread. Regional spread because at the moment most of the business is confined to the southwest part of the peninsula, of the region, and there is certainly scope to widen that. Now, why do people come to a destination anyway? Well, the attractiveness factors can be based on buildings, iconic buildings, or architecture that you really, really want to see. They can be based on natural settings and environment, or they can be based even on retail and leisure facilities. Lots of people go on a holiday to shop. But these things create the high point of the destination. They are the motivating factors to make you go to that destination. And they are places where you want to be able to say, yes, it was worth leaving home to come here. This is a place I would like to live. This is a place I would like to invest in. And certainly this is a place I would like to visit. So when we are developing the visitor experience, apart from the infrastructure, of course, we need the attractions, we need to look at the infrastructure. And that will include things, the smooth running of the destination, so that you don't have a problem getting around, the transport, the signage, and the public spaces. And we need to look at the services that are offered in those destinations, the restaurants, the shops, the cafes, and of course customer care, making sure that people are dealt with in the way that they should be. The brand proposition needs to be identified to incorporate all of this so that it's properly presented in the relevant marketplaces, because a successful brand is going to promise a certain experience, and of course it raises expectations and it must deliver what it is promising. It helps if there is an integrated management system so that the planning and the development, the operations, the branding and the marketing are managed in a coordinated way. So looking at the Crimea, we have obviously agreed with the people already involved that we should build on strengths, on existing attractions and on existing expertise and knowledge. Of course, these can apply to other Black Sea destinations. No one has a monopoly, but it depends on how you present your product and to which markets. So the 4 products that we have identified for Crimea are health tourism, adventure and activity tourism, cultural tourism, and meetings and incentives. Now, health tourism, of course, is a generic heading, and under that heading we have 3 different types of product. The medical product, when people are coming to receive treatment or rehabilitation. The wellness product, where you are looking for sort of therapies and massage and that sort of thing, and spas, where you are more to do with toning up your body, get beauty centers, all that sort of thing. So there is existing knowledge and expertise in Crimea on this, and what we want to do is move from the old-fashioned idea of the sanatorium, and by the way, that is the first thing that has to go, is the word sanatorium, because its connotations in the rest of the world are from the 19th century or the early 20th century, and so we have to move on from that. And we have to end up with modernizing the product and making sure it is up to date and relevant to the market. Activity and adventure holidays. Again, this is something which Crimea excels in, and it's something which uses the strengths of the natural environment. You can undertake at least 30, I'm sure there are more, activities in the Crimea in magnificent settings. There is a bit of a crossover from the health product, because this is helping people to be fit. And of course, there's a crossover as well with the business market, because this can be used for corporate business, for team building exercises, and that sort of thing. Cultural tourism, again, Crimea's history and its romantic associations and connotations are well known, from Catherine the Great and the Romanov Tsars to the Crimean War and World War II with its amazing memorabilia such as the underground submarine base. Who wouldn't want to be James Bond and go and visit something like that? Also the mosaic of at least 20 nationalities which have lived and settled in Crimea. So this again offers opportunities to develop rural tourism with local foods, local crafts, local activities and traditions. And the final product is meetings and incentives, which of course is using the existing facilities and attractions, but with a more year-round application. So all of that needs to be backed up with events, because events pull in people. And again, there is something to work on there. All destinations, therefore, need to innovate to be refreshed and rejuvenated. And the aim is to create some first-class examples and then develop clusters of activities and attractions around these. Now, while I've been doing this work in Crimea, it's been very heartening and very gratifying to see that the theory and the strategy are already being developed by the more innovative companies here. The multi-purpose health center already exists. The multi-activity adventure company already exists. The cultural icons are already being developed. Meetings and incentives involving all of these components are already taking place. What we need to make this flourish is to see many more examples, and this represents an excellent opportunity for investment. The Black Sea region is a perfect area for development. In Europe, we have the European Tourist Commission, which promotes Europe in Asia, in North America and Latin America. There's no reason why the Black Sea as a brand should not be developed for its markets as well. So thank you very much indeed, and spasiba.